Subscribe to Film Companion for your film fix. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update.
What did you discover about Shaheen at 12?
Oh, she was very preoccupied with boys.
Was she?
Very preoccupied with boys, more than I'd like to admit. It's been almost 20 years of not loving myself or not knowing how to love myself. So I think that's been the hardest thing for me to work on. My situation and my depression is interesting in the context of my family. Even the platform for writing this book I have gotten because of who my family is. I can't deny that. There's no point denying that.
Hey Shaheen. Thank you for agreeing to spill tea with me on Film Companion.
Thank you for having me.
You've invited me to your office, you said, so
Yes,
I was very curious to see what the space is like.
Well, this is it.
This is office.
This is office.
Oh wow, this is easily the coziest office space.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't look much like an office.
How does one ever get any work done here?
I mean, maybe we don't. Maybe we don't, but...
But how much of this reflects you?
A lot of it actually. Alia and I both designed this place together.
Okay.
In conjunction with our designer. So
does that explain all the cats?
All the cats, yes. That is Alia. There is Alia and me both. A lot of it, I mean, it's quirky and cool, and it's just basically it's our influence. It's a lot of us.
Yes. Yeah. But what is a day like for you over here?
Meetings usually quite relaxed. We have a gym in the other room, that's what we actually use quite frequently.
There's a swing and
there's
everything.
A swing. It's like a
seat.
forest, as you can see. Also, we've got a lot of plants.
But is gardening therapeutic for you?
I'll be very honest, I don't garden. these are here for me to look at and feel very calmed by. But I don't actually garden myself.
But what I do like about you is your honesty. You have a book coming out which talks about living with depression. I've never been unhappier. I don't know you at all, but there was like this pit of sadness in my stomach when I was reading it. Where did you muster the courage to just be so honest?
I don't know. You know, I was talking to my dad about it the other day. I was like, you know, I don't like it when people say that it's honest. I mean, courageous. Sorry, honest. Yes,
yeah.
It is honest. But I don't like it when people say it's courageous, because for me, it doesn't feel like me in my position with the privilege that I have, with the support system that I have. To me, it doesn't feel. I wouldn't be losing a lot by talking about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not in a position where I'm very well supported. So talking about it to me doesn't really feel like an act of courage. But I mean, the reason I decided to talk about it was because I'd done an Instagram post like 2 years ago, which is when I talked about it for the first time. And the response that I got to that was incredible. The amount of people that it resonated with, the amount of people that told me that it made a difference. It made me realize that imagine if a post can do this much, imagine what a book, like a full-length book could do.
So there was never like any no-go areas, like I will not take this there?
No. I mean, in my head I was like, what is the point of doing this in half measures? If I'm doing it, I may as well do it, because my contention is it's good to share, and it would be very hypocritical of me to then do that in a half measure. So no half.
But you've used, Shaheen, like excerpts from back in 2001 where I was doing the math, you were probably like 14, 15.
Yeah.
But why was that hard? Like, why was that important for you to do? Like, why did you want to take people there?
Because I mean, I feel like I can tell you about it, like this is what happened to me, this is what I went through in hindsight, and I can say it a lot, but it's very different from showing you what it was in that moment. So for me, using diary entries and actually showing you what I felt in that moment, that is more real to me. That's an easier way to actually show you what it's like than to tell you, because that's showing versus telling. So I felt like that was the most honest way that I could actually sort of underline and explain it.
And this meant reliving years of diary entries, which you volunteered to do.
Which I did. I mean, it was both incredibly amusing and embarrassing and all, but also very interesting, because I mean there's a lot of things that I've forgotten about, obviously, because like I'm going back like to age 12 and age 13, so obviously you can imagine the mind of a 12-year-old, 13-year-old girl is quite
What did you discover about Shaheen at 12?
Oh, she was very preoccupied with boys.
Was she?
Very preoccupied with boys, more than I'd like to admit, but it's interesting. It's always funny to see, funny to go back to that.
Yeah. But have you found ways to love yourself more? Are you learning? Like, how's that been?
I'm learning. It's a work in progress. It's always a work in progress for me. I think a huge part of my depression for me, as it progressed, because it started for me at such a young age, it started chemical for me, but I think it became very psychological because I lived with it for so long. So a huge part of it was being very insecure and not loving myself.
Yeah.
And it's been almost 20 years of not loving myself or not knowing how to love myself. So I think that's been the hardest thing for me to work on. Is just sort of acceptance of myself, accepting myself as what I am.
Yeah. And what's self-love like for you now? What do you indulge in?
That's a good question.
I love the red hair.
Thank you. That's a good question. I mean, self-love for me is, okay, just honestly as simple as doing this interview is self-love for me. Because there would have been a time where I'm like, I'm not at my goal weight. I don't like the way I look right now. I'm not going to go and do this. But acceptance starts with you the way you are, not the way you want to be 5 months from now or 6 months from now. So for me, even doing this is an act of self-love, where I'm like, okay, I'm fine. This is what I look like. It's okay. It's great. I look nice.
Great,
I
actually.
think. Yeah, it's fine. So yeah.
But are you more at peace now that you feel like the world knows your truth? Does that actually change things up for you?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I said this also. I think in a way, one of the reasons I wrote this book was to sort of force myself out of hiding. Because I've been like...
Hiding a long time.
Hiding a really long time, and also pretending to just be a very different person than I am. I'm an insecure person. For whatever reason, I wasn't when I was younger, but now I've grown to be insecure because of all the stuff that I've sort of dealt with emotionally. And just to be able to say I'm insecure, but it doesn't bother me. Like, it's fine, because I feel like that's a very real thing. Everyone is insecure. Just being able to say I'm insecure rather than have this pressure of having it all together and, constantly pretending to know everything all the time. It's such a relief.
I can imagine. I want to see the rest of this office.
Come on, let's go. We can move to another area.
Where do you see yourself doing most of this is the meeting room for you?
This is where, this is where I sit. This is my sofa.
Oh, so I am on the sofa. I'm curious to know what kind of boss you are. Like, are you getting used to the people that work with you and for you, whether it's the stylist or whether it's the PR team? What kind of boss are you?
I'm not a boss at all. I'm not a boss. I have people that work with me on my campaign, and I have people that work with me now for like the PR for my book and stuff like that. But they're my friends, and I don't know. They're just people that I trust to, help me with things that I don't know how to do. These are things I don't know how to do. For me, styling also is, I'll put on a pair of black jeans and a black t-shirt and leave the house. This is not what I do on a day-to-day basis. So I defer to everyone's judgment and to tell me what they think I should be doing.
But has it taken some amount of time to be able to trust people to see the best version of you?
No, not really.
You're chill.
I'm chill, yeah. I'm really not fussed. That's the thing, even if it's makeup and all that, just like, you don't ask questions, you don't care what we do to your face, you'll just sit there quietly and we'll do it. I'm really not fussed.
But you don't have fun in front of the camera, so to speak.
I don't.
You don't?
I don't, no.
So this is you basically making an effort to... Okay, and that's taken a bunch of doing?
A lot of doing, yeah, a lot of doing. It's... I'm just not like my family in that sense. Maybe I was when I was younger, but as I've grown up, I've just become a lot more reserved and a lot more introverted. So for me, this is putting myself out there in a way that I'm not used to, and that I don't like going out. I don't like going to parties. So being in front of a camera for an interview for me is like
it's really
a lot.
pushing.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a hell of a lot.
But Alia often jokes about how she's trolled for being a nepo kid.
Yeah.
But growing up in a film family, as we call them,
yeah.
Did you ever feel like that could have been you?
I thought maybe when I was 8 years old, for a very brief time, it's what I thought. But like I said, as I've grown up, it's not, I don't think it's inherently a part of my personality. It's not who I am. Like I said, I don't enjoy the camera. I don't seek it out. I don't enjoy the attention. Attention makes me quite uncomfortable. So I don't think, in reality, I don't think that would have ever been me. I thought maybe I'm being ungrateful by not maybe pursuing it, because it's an opportunity available to me that many would love to have. But I also feel like by not doing it, I mean, there's so many people who actually want it, and I don't. So I'm fine.
Wow, that is interesting. Yeah. But do you feel like it was at any level harder for you to deal with, just because of how over-accomplished practically every member of your family is?
I felt pressure. And I mean, when I was a teenager, I felt a lot of pressure, and maybe in my early 20s, I felt a lot of pressure. But I think that pressure was more about, I think when all of your family does the same thing, and it's not just my sister or my father or my mother, my cousins, my uncles, my uncle, my aunts, all of them, they all do one thing. They're all in movies. And so for me, it was more, you kind of want to fit in. You kind of want to be a part of your tribe in that way. So for me, it was more, I felt like I was missing out by not being able to have the same experiences by being with them in these situations. So I wanted to sort of fit in that way. It's taken me until now to realize that just because I don't fit in that way at the moment, it doesn't mean I don't fit in. So yeah, I did feel a little pressure initially, but nothing like major. No.
But you're fitting in with writing, and which is again a very integral part of filmmaking, as it must be. I know you've said that you don't need pain to create, but I'm curious to know how really just dealing with depression has translated on you as a writer. Have you seen that in any way?
Absolutely. So I think the way I started writing was I started journaling when I was 11, and so I have like piles of journals, and the reason I started writing those journals was because I was starting to experience things that were uncomfortable for me and that are emotionally difficult for me, and writing was one of the ways that I dealt with it. So it's definitely impacted the way I write, because I primarily wrote from the very start when I was feeling unhappy or when I was uncomfortable. So it's definitely affected the way that I write, I think in a good way, because I think writing is also all about observations, and I think having whatever emotional distress that I have, it has made me a little more observational. It's helped me have empathy. Yeah, it's helped me have a lot of empathy. So I think it absolutely translates into what you create.
What are the kind of stories that you see yourself telling? Like, what can we expect from the stables of Shaheen Bhatt?
I mean, I really want to work on some true crime. Like,
really?
Yeah, I mean, so in terms of fiction, that's what I want to do. I am currently working on my next book idea, but that's a non-fiction idea. But eventually, I do want to go into fiction, and for some reason, I really want to write crime. I'm not sure why. I'm really interested in crime.
What's your writing process like? Like, do you see yourself sitting at a specific place or time of day? Like, what kind of writer are you? What helps you?
So I used to be a really chaotic and indisciplined writer. I would write primarily at night. I would stay up until 6 o'clock in the morning and write, and I would not write regularly. But now, in the last couple of years, I have a very specific process. I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Really?
I sit with noise cancelling headphones, and between 5 a.m. to 12 p.m. is when I write. That's my zone. And I get
pen and paper.
Pen and paper and laptop, depends. I do a lot of handwritten notes, and when I'm trying to clear my thoughts, I find pen and paper is the best way for me, because again, it's what I'm used to, it's what I've always done. But yeah, 5 a.m. to 12 p.m. is my time. Noise cancelling headphones, I cannot have people around me, I can't have noise, I can't have distractions. So now I've become a very disciplined writer.
Do we have timelines on when we can expect what from you?
No.
No?
No.
Not that disciplined yet.
No. Also no, because I just don't want to put that pressure on myself right now, given that this book has been really personal, but it's also been really taxing in a way, emotionally quite taxing, and I don't think I was able to enjoy the writing process on this book as much as I would have liked, because of what I was writing about.
Yeah.
So for the next one, I want to enjoy the process. I want to savor it. I want to take my time with it. So I'm not putting pressure of timelines on myself at the moment.
It's a good thing. I really also liked how you owned your privilege. There's a line in the book where you say, I am the best case scenario of what it is like to live with depression, but just take a moment to imagine the worst case scenario then. Has this journey with the book given you the opportunity to meet people who possibly aren't best case scenarios?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the best things that has come from this book is the connections that I've made with people as a result of it, because it allows you to connect with people who are going through similar things. And I think a bulk of people are not in my position. I'm a very, very lucky person. I have access to a lot of resources most people don't, especially in our country. So yeah, I definitely, I think it was very important for me to address my privilege and say exactly that I am a best case scenario because I have access to everything.
It shut a lot of trolls up.
I mean, I don't know, that's the thing, even with trolls, I kind of understand where they're coming from in a sense, because it is, even the platform for writing this book I have gotten because of who my family is. I can't deny that. There's no point denying that my situation and my depression is interesting in the context of my family. I'm very lucky to have the platform. The reason I feel comfortable using this platform is because I know I'm using it for something good. You know, I don't think I'd be quite as comfortable using it for, you know, just publicity for myself and you know, that kind of thing. In this case, I'm quite comfortable using it because I know that it's for something.
But what would you like the world to know about you, minus being Alia Bhatt's sister or Mahesh and Soni Razdan's daughter? Like, what is Shaheen Bhatt about?
I don't know. It's a good question. I'm still figuring it out. I'm still figuring it out. I don't know who Shaheen Bhatt is myself. I think that's another thing that happened to me with depression, because I was living with it at such a formative time in my life. It didn't give me the chance to figure out who I was, and so I feel like I'm living in a very delayed sort of adolescence right now, where I'm learning about myself for the first time, and it's phenomenal. It's amazing. I'm learning things about myself that I didn't know before. So yeah, I don't know.
And how did it strengthen your relationship with your sister? Because it could have worked either way, right? Like, you began with a lot of insecurities growing up because of how you felt like she was just so effortlessly good at everything that she did. But
that's the thing. I didn't have insecurities because of that. It's just one of the things that I used to compare myself to other people. So it was not, you know, she was not the cause of my insecurity.
Of course.
At any point. I think we've just, as a result of this, spent a lot of time talking to each other and having a lot of very honest conversations with each other. So I think it's just encouraged us to understand each other in a way that maybe, I don't know, maybe we wouldn't have been sort of pushed to do had this not be the case. So
maybe. Yeah, we see a lot of Instagram posts about the cozy life that the two of you share together with the cats and the home and everything. What is girls' night for you guys? Like, do you guys get enough time to catch up?
Not always, but when we do, it's very chill, night in. I don't like going out very much. She's also become more of a homebody now. Yeah. So night in for us is very chill. We'll eat dinner together, we'll watch some Friends, we'll sit, we'll chat. It's usually just lounging around and doing nothing and giggling, basically.
The best kind of nights.
Best kind,
yeah. I love how in the foreword you dedicate the book to your 16-year-old self, saying that who didn't know that her suffering would be the biggest gift. And I really just want to thank you, because it's not a gift to you, but it's a gift really to everyone who's going through and gone through depression, and more importantly to people like me who didn't have enough awareness about what it is like to live and come out a survivor. So thank you so much for chatting with me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay guys, you know the drill. If you like the video, please subscribe to Film Companion.